In the movie Venom, during the first human trials of the symbiote, the research team is happy that the patient's vitals are holding steady. This is a reference to the production team not consulting a single medical professional to find out what good vital signs look like. Ah yes, a pulse of 136 and an oxygen saturation of 81%. The ideal levels. Yes, nothing to be concerned about there. Perfectly normal. They said they were holding steady, not that they were holding healthy. Patient's vitals are steady. Doctor, they're dead. And maintaining that state quite well. 3 years back, I created 13 alternate accounts on Discord and inserted them into my friend group over the course of a few months, pretending each of them was a new person. They have their own personality and typing/grammar distinctions, and their own fake life events and stories that I've had to keep meticulous track of. Some of them even engaged romantically with real people, though none in the present day. Nowadays, the original friend group is split up, with some fake people being present in about each server that still has some kind of connection to the former group. One active group chat even has 6 alts and 1 real person. I literally have to keep this up like a puppet master because these pretend people have real important connections to people I still care about. It's hard, but I literally don't know how to resolve or change the situation without causing a wave of despair and destruction in one way or another. This is what Light Yagami would do if he never found the Death Note. If there was any justice to chess, becoming the world chess champion would let you make one small, en passant level rule change to the game for the duration of your reign. Like Carlsen beats Anand, and he is ceremonially cloaked with the king's crown and the scepter of chess, and he says, thanks guys. As my first decree as chess champion, pawns on the A and H files can capture forwards as well as diagonally, and the crowd goes wild. And grimly, chess masters around the world throw out their plans for Vichy's Chess, Openings and Theory 3rd edition, and open a new Word document titled Magnus Stupid BS Chess Notes .docx and start theorizing. Sitting on a girl's bed, watching her do a tarot reading, and then whip out her laptop, and then nodding her head solemnly, and pulling out her laptop, placing it on top of the tarot card, and video calling her boyfriend with zero warning to break up with him, while I'm still in her room. Some author's notes on this post. Yes, we did have coitus directly after this. No, it was not a good idea. If I knew this post was going to spread around, I would include the fact that the reason that we had coitus is that she proceeded to do a tarot reading on me and looked at the cards and very solemnly went, I think the cards are telling me one night stand. What kind of position is he filming these videos in? Is he laying on his stomach, kicking his feet in the air? Hate to ruin the illusion, but this is how I film the carpet. I'm sorry. Horrendous choice. Truly one of the creators of all time. That is a fascinating choice. Think of all the extra effort to produce the illusion of something easy. Suddenly struck by the idea for a piece of world building, a Fae don't like iron because it is the most stable element. As in elements higher you can extract energy via fission, and lower you can extract energy via fusion, but iron itself there is no excess binding energy to extract at all. I love that this implies Fae would freaking love unstable isotopes. You can't go in nuclear fallout zones. That's where the Fae live. You see my vision. I like to come up with horrible video game mechanic ideas designed to tick off certain subsections of gamers without affecting the gameplay experience of the average player. For example, what if I made a completely normal action-adventure game, but the final boss is inaccessible by any means until the in-game time reaches 3 hours? If the game had an average playtime of 10 hours, this would not affect the average gamer. It would, however, tick off speedrunners. If I wanted to rub salt into the wounds, I could make that 3-hour limit have a variable of up to 5 minutes late or early. I think the runners would come after me with pitchforks. I think that Pokemon should make it so that Pokemon can only be used in competitive battles if they have a certain visible friendship threshold. You want to use Landorus? Well, make him a sandwich, MFer. My ancestors, watching me dump an entire stick of cinnamon, 2 cloves, an allspice berry, and a generous grating of nutmeg into my tea, sweetened with white sugar and loaded with cream, while I sit in my clean, warm house surrounded by books, 25 plus outfits for different occasions, and 6 pairs of shoes, in a building heated so well, I have the windows open mid-autumn. Our daughter prospers. We are proud of her. She has never labored in a field, but knows riches we could not have imagined. I like this so much better than the idea that our ancestors would be embarrassed or ashamed of us for being soft or some crap like that. My ancestors watching me stuff my face with fried chicken while studying. She eats like an imperial concubine and can afford to study like an imperial scholar. We made it! I just met a mother of an autistic child who thinks vaccines cause autism but is still pro-vaccine. Didn't know people like her existed, to be honest. She really joined the war on autism on the side of autism. She heard an autistic child is better than a dead child and said bet. The thing about ADHD is that the lack of reward chemicals in your brain doesn't just mean that you don't want to do any tasks that don't feel particularly yummy, sad face. It means that your brain will look at chores and tasks that need to be done, like doing this would be painful and tedious for absolutely nothing to gain from it. Do not do that. The same thing that your brain tells you about everything else that would feel really bad and hurt the entire time that you're dying. The part of your brain that stops you from doing the thing is the same part that keeps you from shoving your arm into a wood chipper. With unmedicated, unmanaged ADHD, I have to do this assignment or I fail and my life will be ruined and I die feels like a saw trap every single time. I finished Portal and immediately went to eBay and ordered Portal 2. I cannot wait to hang out with that wretched Steven Merchant ball that people were obsessed with 10 years ago. I've been playing for about half an hour, and I've come to the conclusion that I would die for this little sphere guy. Was reminded of that YouTube channel that records footage of that bridge that scallops trucks today. One of the fascinating developments that's happened since I last heard about it is that in one of their many attempts to stop the trucks from being can opened, they installed a traffic light that detects when a vehicle that's over the allowed height is coming, and turns red so the driver can stop and hopefully notice the signage all around that's screaming, "Your vehicle is over height, turn around," and avoid an accident. However, as a result, sometimes drivers see the light turning yellow and immediately start flooring it to avoid having to stop, ensuring that the roof of their truck just gets freaking annihilated instantly. Really beautiful stuff. You should check it out. I spent countless hours turning aluminum welding wire into this chainmail blanket. Why? I like having weight on me when I sleep, and I like to be cool. The heat dissipating properties and weight of aluminum are perfect for this. Bro's getting a good night's sleep. Sony is run by people who would drown if it rained, and they still have no competition because Microsoft is the 8-year champion of slamming your Johnson in the car door. And Nintendo is off singing and skipping joyously while spending all their Mario bucks on suing their fans. Biggest indicator of US decline. You could buy 6 Big Macs with 1 hour of minimum wage in 1980, but today you can't even buy one, despite minimum wage more than doubling. It's over. F's for the USA. Explaining purchasing power collapse to an American. Imagine no burger. Back when cons were only sort of death traps, my go-to cosplay was Miss Pauling from TF2 because it was quick and easy and I looked cute, and she's a good character, and one time, a guy dressed as Scout came up to me while I was chilling on the CT-Con patio and was like, "Hey Miss Pauling, how you doing?" in the Scout voice, and then he fell down the stairs in front of me. That wasn't a cosplayer, that was the real Scout TF2. Me, fills a water gun with printer ink. Me, I don't even need a Wii U to have fun. If you bought a 16ml cartridge of ink at $18 and a 2,500ml Nerf Super Soaker Barrage at $15.99, it would cost about $2,828.49 to fill it with ink once. You know, it's kind of funny how much of high fantasy centers around kings and nobility and courtly intrigue, considering that the archetypal high fantasy, Lord of the Rings, had the rather explicit moral of saving the world is up to this backwater hick and his gardener, because no politician, least of all inherited nobility, would have the ability to see past their own ambition and throw away a weapon. Oh sure, Aragorn is a great king and all, but there's a reason he's over there running a distraction ring while the hobbits do the real work. Sauron loses because he gets distracted by kings and armies and great battles, i.e. typical high fantasy stuff, letting Frodo and Sam sneak through his back door and blow it all to hell. Just saying, maybe old Jert knew what he was saying when he said that the small folk doing their best and holding to each other was more powerful than a dozen alliances and super weapons, and we should respect him for it. Pros of hyperfixation. Happy! Art ideas. Life is good. Cons of hyperfixation. I am going to blow up. All my art is of the same guy. If I don't think about this 24/7, I get violent. Basically, they just don't assassinate politicians like they used to anymore. I need everyone to know that 2 months after I made this post, Shinzo Abe was killed with a Splatoon weapon. If we bring this back, maybe we can make the funniest possible outcome right before the US election. Should have made an entire new text post, OP. Made the mistake of bringing up that needing glasses is a disability on TikTok, and people got real mad. You can fix it with glasses. Yeah, cause they're a disability aid? But like, I still have to pay $160 to use my own freaking eyes. Like, by definition, if your eyes do not work without aid, you have a disability to see. Having a disability doesn't automatically put you in what people consider the disabled category, but that doesn't change the fact that it is, in fact, a disability. So I'm reading something online and stumble onto a post where somebody mentions the Harkness test. I'd never heard of it, or at least not recently enough to remember it, but from context, it was clear that it was something along the lines of it being moral for two characters of different species to have coitus as long as they are both able to communicate and understand consent. But of course, being a Doctor Who fan, I recognize that this is probably named after Jack Harkness, who was famously very horny for every sentient species in the universe, so I wanted to Google it to see if that was in fact the origin. The Harkness test exists to say that it is morally/ethically fine for someone to want to have coitus with Scooby-Doo, because Scooby-Doo can give informed consent and communicate as such. This is what happens when Google uses Tumblr as a source of truth. Good news for American minorities. Shooter was white. He was registered Republican, but apparently also made a $15 donation to the Biden campaign at one point. Average American swing voter. Finally, centrist extremism. Look, all I'm going to say about the current political situation is that in the reasonably likely event that Kamala Harris gets the Democratic nomination, she has the one and only chance to do the funniest thing in the world and rock up to the DNC, look America dead in the eyes, and present her new running mate, Joseph freaking Biden. Working at an aquarium will have you saying things like, "This is my favorite scallop because he's sassy." Could we please see the sassy scallop? Yeah, this is him. He made a child cry once by shooting water in their face. This is getting notes again, so I think everyone on this post should know that the sassy scallop is doing well, and has a swag anemone hat now. Top 5 women? Bro, I can't even top one woman, haha. 2 drums and a cymbal fall from the ceiling, killing me instantly. You couldn't even name 5 women. Apologize. Apologize to women. I tried to, but all the ones I asked told me they already had names. I don't have time to draw it right now, but while driving home from the Winco, I saw a happy mustached man pedaling a bike, towing a cart built to look like a chariot, inside of which stood what I can only imagine was his completely expressionless 13-year-old in a makeshift Corinthian helmet. Like this. People drawing their encounters instead of filming strangers without their knowledge or consent, my beloved. They want you to make fried rice. Who is they? The walk left. How am I supposed to make fried rice if the walk left? Skillet issue. Today I learned Americans call a knob of butter a stick of butter. Who the flip calls it a knob? Screw you! Silly Americans call it a stick of butter instead of a thick, throbbing dong of butter. Eye-opening little anecdote from a friend who ran a tabletop game for his all-male gaming group. He gender-flipped every character in the pre-run module, resulting in an all-female setting. His players grew increasingly paranoid and were convinced of a conspiracy. The players, convinced there's some sort of murder cult going on, started scouring the setting for men. The pre-written module's village contained only one female character, the wife of the blacksmith, unnamed, which of course, was all the more suspicious to them. There was absolutely nothing my friend could do to convince his players that there wasn't a great conspiracy or at least a basement full of dead dudes. This could be a new Bechdel test. If you gender swap all the characters, does it feel like something must have happened to all the men? List of problems that cannot be solved by punching.
I'm tired from too much punching. Certain Sudoku puzzles. End of list.
Problem 1 can be solved by using your other arm?
We are in a brave new frontier.
I don't know when we decide that explaining yourself shouldn't be part of an apology, but like, if someone was a jerk to me and apologizes, but I still don't understand why they did it, I'm not gonna feel any better. Sorry for hurting your feelings earlier. I was trying to say X, but I guess it came across wrong. I don't think you're stupid. Or, sorry I snapped at you. I didn't get enough sleep last night, so my patience is a little low today. Is a better apology then, I want you to know that I am sorry that my actions offended you. I take full accountability for my actions, and I am listening and learning. I hear you. Missing emergency slide that fell off Delta flight found. The slide washed up in front of the house of a lawyer whose firm happens to be suing Boeing over safety issues. Trapped on the rocks in a freak coincidence was the emergency slide that fell off the Boeing 767 jetliner. Can you imagine suing Boeing and coming home to find Boeing's faulty plane parts washed up in your backyard? Genuinely cannot emphasize enough that the damsel in distress archetype really does not exist in medieval literature the way people think it does. These ladies are really only in distress because they can't find a knight willing to enact bloodshed for them. If anything, these damsels are causing distress. Okay, but for real, why is Trump coming to my town to speak directly outside where I work? You're literally in the farmland area of town. We have an opportunity here. You should plant a bomb. You have the opportunity to do something great. I'm going to end up on a watch list. You're never gonna believe this. They were on top of my office. Stop using ChatGPT. Take a bronze pin and carve your questions onto an ox scapula, then toss it into the fire. Use the cracks to divine the god's answer. Citations still have to be APA 7th edition though. If you plagiarize, the gods will flood the Yellow River again, and you'll lose your academic standing. I went to a clown hatchery in Madison today, and oh my freaking god, there must have been at least 10,000 clowns there. It was incredible. The breeder told me he's been operational for 8 years now, and the new morphs he's working with are amazing. With the regular white-orange and snowflakes, he's working with something that gives them a blue tone. They're gorgeous. I read this like 10 times before I realized you were probably talking about fish. Today at work, a coworker warned me that my patient's owner let us know her cat is homophobic, meaning he tends to attack gay people violently on site, which I thought was a joke, but that cat saw me and may have been the angriest cat I've ever worked with and did in fact bite me through Kevlar gloves because he hated me so much. I want to emphasize that the cat was wearing a pride flag collar, which the owner gave him as exposure therapy. Hillary Clinton will commit seppuku if Kamala wins and is first lady president. If you're on the fence about voting for Kamala Harris or the next Dem nominee, please consider how much it would ruin Hillary Clinton's life to be the only Democrat to lose to Donald Trump. I'm absolutely screaming. My 6th graders had to write essays about their favorite celebrities, and one girl wrote hers about Abraham Lincoln. Please remember that I don't live in America. This is a 12-year-old Korean girl, and when asked about her favorite celebrity, her mind automatically jumped to the 16th President of the United States. I have such a love for characters who descend into madness or villainy out of deep, deep empathy. Characters who fundamentally cannot cope with the cruel realities they find themselves in and blow up about it in spectacular fashion. Fallen angel type characters with tears of outrage in their eyes. Characters who break before they bend, and break so badly they splatter blood all over their noble ideals. Every variation on it gets me so good. My neighbor thought I freaking died because he heard a loud crash, easel and canvas fell over while I was asleep, and had been trying to contact me for like an hour. Anyway, artistic rendition of when I opened my door. The Addams Family wasn't particularly magic or supernatural or anything. Their goth game was just hard AF. They lived with a sentient, disembodied hand. That's just how Goths are sometimes. Birdwatching is so perverted. You blow a little noisemaker that shouts, "Wanna mate? Wanna mate?" And then, when a bird shows up wanting to mate, you are like, "Aha, I see you through my binoculars." Sick behavior. Twisted behavior. Birds are just those guys who fall for those hot singles in your area ads, and that's all there is to it. Don't hide the best part of the post! I really think everyone needs to truly internalize this. Fictional characters are objects. They are not people. You cannot objectify them because they have no personhood to be deprived of. They have no humanity to be erased. You cannot disrespect them because they are not real. Extremely unsexy of ADHD to make me both very annoying and very sensitive to the concept of being perceived as annoying. Perceived to my marrow by a 2-line Tumblr post. Fantastic way to end the year. Anyway, love me. Kill them with kindness. Wrong. ADHD Tumblr post 8d6 psychic damage. Something something. People have to stop being so relatable. I don't want to have to perceive myself.
Woe, perception be upon ye.
Today I learned the Bible contains a passage where it says it became dark in daytime during the crucifixion of Jesus. It was discovered a total eclipse did actually occur in Jerusalem on November 24th, 29 CE at around 11 a.m. This fact got dismissed by the church because the date is not in accordance with Easter. Historians, we found out the actual date Jesus was crucified. Catholic Church, how dare you question our appropriation of pagan holidays? Okay, but could you imagine being a Roman, nailing up some dude who's like, "I'm the son of God, bruh," and then the freaking sun goes black? I'd crap. Are video games art? They're actually so not art that they're negative art. If you play Diablo 3 for an hour and 42 minutes, you've no longer ever seen Casablanca. Every 100 levels you beat in Candy Crush deletes all your opinions about an exhibit in the Tate Modern. I'm going to point out that you are freaking wrong. There are a lot of indie games I would consider art. What Remains of Edith Finch is, in my opinion, a piece of art. If Found is a fantastic narrative game about primarily the experiences of a trans woman in Ireland in the 1990s. AAA games are not art, but some indie games might be. Telling a joke on Tumblr is fun, but watch out! If it gets over 1,000 notes, your joke is automatically exposed to people who have never once heard a joke in their life. We need to go back to using sailing ships full-time, like immediately. Yes, it would take longer to get places, but the aesthetic is unmatched. Like, there is nothing sexier than this. Can't wait for OP to get scurvy. Are you under the impression that the ships themselves are what caused scurvy? Weren't these ships used for colonizing India in the slave trade? Once again, do you think this is the fault of the ships themselves? Tumblr users will try to make any ship problematic. When a baby unironically says "goo goo gaga," it's honestly pretty pathetic. Like, dude, come on. Are you that desperate for attention that you have to do the, like, baby routine? A bottle of water can be 50 cents in the supermarket, $2 at the gym, $3 at the movies, and $6 on a plane. The only thing that changed its value was the place. The next time you feel your worth is nothing, maybe you're in the wrong place. I really feel this. Or maybe I was offered a random day off due to an overstaffing mistake and took it. I decided to have fun with the pets. I got all ready for work like I normally would, and they did their usual job of trying to persuade me not to go, and I made a dramatic show of letting them win. They've been on a happiness high for the past 3 hours. How do you guys feel about my lock screen? OP, do you take constructive criticism? There is nothing to criticize here. Who the hell organizes apps by color? Mind your business. Alternatives to ladies and gentlemen. Cads and wastrels. Fellow scoundrels. Ladies, gentlemen, and interesting miscellanea. Beloved friends and tolerated acquaintances. Entities of interest. Paying audience members and assorted freeloaders. The FBI's most and least wanted. Discerning guests and those of you with hell all else to do on a Tuesday evening. Esteemed gutter filth. Can't believe God forgot. Mothers and truckers of the jury. Jigsaw voice.
Hello, lock-picking lawyer. You've made a name for yourself showing people how to break the law, but today, it is you that will be... Hey! Knock that off!
You've heard of protagonists who are genre savvy. Now get ready for protagonists who are outright genre saboteurs. First mistake in my trucking career. Got into a little fender bender. It'll buff out. And also your last, I take it? Go big and go home. Well, that's one way to get fired. Happens to us all. There was a dude at work who used to reassure people about mistakes by saying, "But can you see it from space?" Now, I'm not saying you could see that from space, but you're getting real close, buddy. Medieval peasant. I see. So, it is the case that there are many paintings within this magical book. It's not so strange after all. Me trying to show him Tumblr to scare him. I was kinda hoping this would be a bit more confusing to you. Peasant suddenly pointing at the screen. Hark! Cynocephaly! Wait, hold on. Gotta look something up. Okay, yeah, this is funny. It should be 100% legal to go in abandoned buildings. Like, nobody is using it for anything, why can't I go in? Isn't this how you get murdered? No, it's how you get poisoned by mold or crushed by broken floorboards or whatever, but there aren't murderers just hanging out in every abandoned building like cockroaches. Lol, imagine if serial killers just spawn from abandoned buildings. They do, but they get poisoned by mold or crushed by broken floorboards or whatever before they can serial kill anyone. It makes so much sense! Study after study, humans are most productive when happy, properly rested, and in good health. Capitalism. Science has invented a new business chair that electrocutes you if you think about your wife. Imagine having coitus with your wife in that chair. This website is elite. This website is the blueprint. It's the pinnacle. There is no website like it. I will never leave this website. Men of Reddit, what would you do if you found out your homie is gay? Stop making jokes about him not having a girlfriend, and start making jokes about him not having a boyfriend. I like the answer, but that not safe for work flag just makes me sad. Did you know, if you get to the airport early enough in the morning, you can look through the big windows and watch them shovel oats and alfalfa into big troughs for the planes? I know it looks cute, but the airplanes only line up for food when their enclosure isn't enriching enough. That might be true of smaller airports where the planes spend more time on the ground, but at large international airports, the planes get tons of enrichment from socializing with one another and lots of exercise flying, so it's actually fine that their enclosures aren't much more than a space for them to rest. How do I download PDF? Laughable, obvious shorthand for completely tech-incompetent old people. How do I edit PDF? Deep mystery our top technologists are still working on to this day. I once installed a trial of Acrobat Pro to fix a PDF and it was beyond comprehension. I gave up and recreated it in Word. I work in IT. How to ride a werewolf. Step 1. Ask politely. Step 2. Sit side saddle on his back, as if he were a Shetland pony. Step 3. Bury your hands in the wolf's thick neck ruff. Step 4. Lean forward until your corset creaks. Step 5. Hang on. Step 6. Remain calm. Be certain not to muss your hair. Now remember, a lady rides side saddle, not astride. Your mother would be in hysterics at the very idea that a daughter of hers would ride a werewolf astride. Why, next you'll be showing ankle. That's not how you ride a werewolf. I'll show you how to ride a werewolf. Delusional cosplayers, real Italians.
Punic Wars 2.
I mean, they did also have a second Punic War. That was a pretty significant thing that happened. Like, I understand where you're coming from here, but they very much did have a second Punic War.
Punic Wars 3.
I mean, they did also have a third Punic War. That was a pretty significant thing that happened. Like, I understand where you're coming from here, but they very much did have a third Punic War. How many Punic Wars were there? 3 conflicts. The Punic Wars were a series of 3 conflicts involving the Roman Republic and the Empire of Carthage from 264 BCE until 146 BCE.
Punic Wars 4.
Every time you add another Punic war to this post, a time traveler goes back and makes it real for the bit. Saw someone say that ship wars aren't a thing anymore the other day, and to be honest, I think dressing your ship wars up in therapy speak and pretending it's actually about ethical concerns doesn't make them any less ship wars. I think this means in general, not the incest ships or incest-like ships. Aunties when a post is about them, there's no way this post is about me, right? At everyone in the notes talking about naval warfare, you live in such a beautiful world. The mining dwarfer seems to pick his axe at night. Read later. Girl, it's a single sentence. Need you to be not so toughies on me. I want to thank you both for turning my biggest wording fumble, where I clumsily said mining dwarfer instead of dwarven miner, into a post I chuckle at whenever it comes across my dash. Hold on, I'm busy. I'll have to check what you said in a minute. Finally read this. Would not have reblogged. I watched the live-action version of Can You Feel the Love Tonight on YouTube, and I was not ready for the utter lack of emotions from the CGI animals. Nala looking concerned about Simba hiding something about his past, a comparison. Also, in CGI, this song called Can You Feel the Love Tonight does not take place at night. Can you feel nothing in particular this afternoon? This is your daily reminder to not be ashamed of making your life easy for yourself. Cut your food into small pieces, make the font size 30 on your ebook, use straws to drink, get a pen that's comfortable to hold, take more naps, walk slowly, eat another cookie, buy Velcro shoes, rewatch the part you couldn't understand the first time, write things on your hands so you don't forget it, whatever you want and or need. Don't let anyone tell you how you should be doing things. We don't need to prove each other anything. The funniest H.P. Lovecraft story is the one where some guy's family offended an evil wizard, who then cursed his entire family, saying that all the men would die before they hit like 30. The protagonist is going crazy, trying to find a spell to break the curse, and then the big reveal was that the wizard was literally just breaking into their house and killing them himself. For Atlantis, Disney needed a new language for the Atlantean people. To do this, Disney hired Mark Okrand, the man who also created the famous Klingon and Vulcan for the Star Trek series. In the Atlantean language, Mark Okrand's main source for its roots and stems of its words are Proto-Indo-European, but as Okrand also described it as being the Tower of Babel, or root dialect for all the languages in the world, he also used ancient Chinese, Latin, Greek, Biblical Hebrew, along with many other ancient languages or the reconstructions. As such, you can actually learn to write and speak the language. This film is so underrated, it hurts. Sometimes, I randomly think about the time a girl posted in this girls only Facebook group I'm in, telling everyone how she broke up with her boyfriend, and he lied saying that he lost the spare key she gave him, only to then break into her apartment when she wasn't home and steal the cat they'd adopted while they were together. But then he denied having done this, and she didn't really have proof that he took the cat since he wouldn't let her come into his place and look for it. And then another girl saw this post and knew her ex-boyfriend, and she was like, "Girl, I used to hook up with your mans back in whenever, and I still have his number. If you want, I'll hit him up and get him to invite me back to his place and see if your cat's there." And the OP was like, "Bet." So this woman hit up Homie Dog, asked him out for drinks, went home with him, slept with him, and then woke up in the middle of the night and took the cat. Like, she had only said that she would confirm if the cat was there, but then she took it upon herself to steal this woman's cat back. Like, she full on Trojan horsed this man, and then hit up homegirl like, "I got the goods, where you want to meet?" And then the two of them posted a photo of them together with the cat to the group. And I just think woman supporting woman is so beautiful. Had a dream that I met a wizard, and we fell in love and became unhealthily attached to each other, so we decided to meld into one single creature together, but the process was horrifically slow and painful, and most of the dream was us lying in bed, holding hands while lesions opened up in our skin and seeped out blue and green fluid, and the wizard said, "This is going to take a very, very long time," and I said, "That's okay. I appreciate that you posted this, but I am not going to share it." I want to reblog this so bad, but I just became mutuals with a cute girl from her, and I don't want to scare her off. The critics are raving. Yesterday, this girl in my academic writing class sits down next to me and puts 3 bananas on the desk, which was jarring by itself, and I had 2 bananas in my backpack, so I wanted to see if she would notice if I added those to her banana pile when she wasn't looking, and when she finally looked back at the bananas, she sighed and said really quietly to herself, "Oh my god, I have so many," and put all 5 of them in her backpack. Sacabambaspis. Sacabambaspis is an extinct genus of jawless fish that lived in the Ordovician period. Sacabambaspis lived in shallow waters on the continental margins of Gondwana. It is the best known Arandaspid with many specimens known. I hope I never, ever, ever see this image while I'm high, or it will also straight up kill me. It would make me so scared my skeleton would run away, and I'd be a boneless scared heap on the ground. I have an end-of-life patient to whom I spoke today. She burst out laughing and said, "It was all such fun. I just had so much fun." I wish this for everyone. I wish that we each would meet death laughing, with little regret and even less fear. It makes me smile every time I see someone reblog this post with commentary about how it made them happy, or changed how they look at life and death. This little old lady had no idea how much warmth and comfort she brought to thousands. 60% of the jobs that we'll have in 20 years don't even exist yet. Who knows what you'll be? A slave in an asteroid mine? A client who follows rich people around to laugh at their jokes? An organ transplant repo man? A substitute pollinator? A guillotine attendant? There are just so many possibilities. The thing you need to understand is that Mario is not a young skinny guy. Mario is a kindly old uncle to me, and he's fat, and that's fine. Like, he's an uncle who would babysit you as a kid, and he never yells at you, and would make you the best plate of spaghetti you've ever had. And when he leaves, you can't wait to see him again. He loves going on adventures, and he loves his brother, and he loves the Mushroom Kingdom. And like, he's a silent character in the RPGs, but to me, in the sense that he's just a quiet, humble guy who prefers to listen, and when you're talking, you can tell that he's listening and he cares. If you got interrupted in mid-sentence by someone else, Mario would ask you to carry on where you left off when there was a chance. If you were walking in a group and you had to stop to tie your shoe and everyone else went on without you, Mario would wait for you patiently. I don't mind if you ship him in Peach, but to me, he doesn't rescue her because of romantic love. He's just a good guy who wants to help out. This is my truth. Mario is not Chris Pratt. Mario is a nice older man, and I stand by this. I love you, Mario. When I was a kid, my dad would sometimes make breakfast ham from one of those round cuts of meat, and he'd take care to cut off the ham rind in one continuous piece, so it was like one giant ring. And then he'd call over our dog and make him sit and throw the ring around our dog's neck, like so. This was a ritual that my dad referred to as ham necklace. People who leave their phones at the military time are freaking war criminals. How do you look at 1605 and go, wow, I can understand that? Freaking bootlickers, what's next? You gonna go join the army? Recruit me? Americans be like, okay, I can't count past 12 actually. This GIF is like almost biblical, as if he's experiencing a pharaoh's curse. WTF are you gonna say? Me when, nay. I shan't say it. Please respect my privacy. My deepest apologies. I forgive you. Anyway, me when I suck that pharaoh good and hard through a scaramophagus. Reblog, if you have used dude as a non-gender specific term. Where I grew up in California, not only is dude generally non-gender specific, half of the time it doesn't even refer to a person at all. I set it to a faucet today. Having also grown up in California, I can attest that dude can be anything. Males are dude, females are dude, my phone is dude, that cat over there, it is dude. The green light that only lasts long enough for one car to pass is dude. I have called my hair dude, I have called my coffee maker dude. The entire population of the world and all of their belongings are all dude. We need bangable cities. This site really glamorizes lameness in a way I've never seen before. Inserting a sloppy disk into the computer. A real 3-hit combo of Tumblr posts right now. Why is this a bulk reblog? 3-for-1 deal. Call out post for work. Work has done many terrible things, such as make my friend go there, make my wife go there. Please spread this around. We can't let work keep getting away with this. If you put a bee in the freezer, it will get cold and fall asleep. After it's asleep, put it in your mouth, but don't eat it. Just let it sit there. It will get warm and wake up. Now you have a bee in your mouth. Why the hell would I do that? London Mutuals, what is there to do that's cheap and not alcohol based? Bongs at Croydon. There's a bloke at Clapham Common who will suck your willy for $4.50. He'll even play with your balls for an extra quid. I have zero desire to meet you, let alone give you money. 350? Basically, I think the general rule of thumb is, if someone really wants the blood that's inside of your body, and they're like a vampire, or a Dracula, or some sort of mansquito, then that's probably okay. A Dracula and a mansquito are made for removing things like blood and swords from inside your body. That's basically fine. If something wants to get at your blood, and they're, say, some kind of murdersaurus, or maybe a really big frog, that's where the problems start to arise. A really frog is not made for removing blood, and your blood knows this, which is why it is so vehement about wanting to stay in your body instead of coming out. Unfortunately, this will not deter a really big frog, because a really big frog is full of things like prizes and value and quite a lot of hatred, and it would really rather like to replace any and all of those things with your blood, and basically by any means possible. These words scan with a fantastic degree of confidence, considering that together, they make no sense at all. The thing that's funny and relatable about Luigi isn't that he's a coward, it's that he's a coward with no sense of scale. He reacts to literally everything with exactly the same level of, oh gee, I don't know, apprehension. Whether it's hearing a noise in a dark house at night, or coming face to face with a world-devouring horror. This is more or less the root of his self-esteem problems. He's the universe's second greatest warrior and doesn't realize it because, as far as he's concerned, being scared of a spider in the bathroom and being scared of Cthulhu are the same thing. He just totally lacks the necessary context to appreciate that managing to grit your teeth and deal with the second one is any sort of achievement. It's all spiders in the bathroom to him. He's equally terrified of everything, and that makes him... What the sneef? I'm snorfing here! Hey, you doing alright at GhostBot? Tumblr truly is the most violent website. I can just put anything on all of my friends' dashes. That's too much power that I abuse without hesitation. Like, nothing is stopping me at all. I'm doing it right now. This is the worst. I'm going to personally kill you for putting what the sneef I'm snorfing here on my dash 30 times. You know what blows my mind is when you meet someone who literally does not eat vegetables. Fun fact, I found out my ex was cheating on me because of scurvy. This loser did not eat vegetables at all and started having symptoms, I guess, and somehow thought it was an STD contracted during a condomless affair, and so confessed to me before getting tested, but then at the doctor found out it was actually scurvy, but had already confessed the affair. Anyways, I don't date people who Magic the Gathering anymore. Just so you know, there is no the queen. Why? There are so many queens. They make up half of the human population. We call them women. And I am a loyal knight fighting for all of them. I slaughtered a dragon for women today, actually. Here's a picture. You idiot! You're not supposed to kill dragons! Can someone get Don Quixote on his freaking meds again? He's destroying renewable energy again. I kinda love the fact that Lovecraft, for all of his many issues, really loved cats. Like, Bastet, goddess of cats, canonically exists in the mythos as one of the rare benevolent elder gods. There are two separate stories where cats aid the protagonist with supernatural influence. I don't know, I just think there's something oddly sweet about this man, utterly terrified of almost everything, having a soft spot for cats. Like, the horror of the cold, yawning abyss of the void between the stars, versus cute kitty, colon 3. If you ever find yourself in a horror scenario, remember to blush really hard when the ghost/demon/monster appears. If you do that fast enough, you might be able to shift the genre. This applies doubly if the antagonist is more abstract. If a house starts growing teeth and flesh, you've gotta be prepared to get a little freaky. This can be applied to many academic topics, but personally, I always follow this set of rules when looking for any kind of therapist video on YouTube. Is your mom a psycho? Versus understanding and coping strategies for loved ones with antisocial personality. CBT, and not that kind, you sickos. Expensive mic, crackly audio. Gamer/streamer crap, college professor vibes. Polished setup, graphics. Reading off a plain PowerPoint. Covers drama, kinda stale presentation. Flashy delivery, filming in an academic setting. 5 million subs, under 500k subs. Too friendly or overshares with viewers. Listens but keeps professional distance with viewers.